Nia Abdullah any and Komo on this. Now Yemisa said on the civil ground, as a road and building consultant, Akwanya Hodua and what this enclave any a year aban ejapade ahodua ewo a year affected how do we ensure say the little that is left yebetime abohoban. Engineer morning empombo ko there.
Hey, Mr. Speaker.
Wa yi die nyefe kra o.
What did I?
Wa yi die nyefe.
When I was saying my blame producer that I said more very more very only producer now or from anonymous of economic class what a judge.
Oh za.
So much of it.
Oh, there be a better you.
And I'm going to be able to set a goal. There be a problem. You see, I'm going to set a goal. I move and be a bomb when it's an event.
Very well. Very well. It cannot be a fight there. Be able to call. We woke up to see Akosombo Dam say levels, in terms of ensure Akosro to save the integrity of the dam. Na ehwako here say engineers ebetimi aspele na the excess water in terms of volume abadam nemono yebetimi ama bebre na no etimi epie. Now the consequences so daring say ye ka say akwanya hodo nso affected the engineering works and the project ahodo aban eden nsa som in all these enclaves niema ni nyina affected. Now making an assessment what is supposed to be done. Akwanya hodo, what are we supposed to do after this particular devastation?
Well, me fa kunya suna match with telephone na was as you are shewru ma join enya crowd. Bakra la Tuesday if you Friday I call yes I go shewru ma. You have to get the money outside when you want to make some impact.
I see.
What I know in fact it's one of my areas when it comes to like dams and other things, and I have my mates as well who are also versatile in those areas. Or more guaranteeing all of last week, and you can say we're interrogating ourselves on how to make some impact when it comes to like this advocacy or education to the general public. So we actually abreast with the information. The dam, some people will know the history. Dam and Kruma time and Omusiye. Now the dam was constructed between 1961 to 1965. So it's like a 4-year duration and Omudiya dam because it's the biggest man-made lake in the world. That lake now from 1961 to 1965 was when that was constructed. Now the type of dam, a rock fill embankment dam. It's the abuak rocks, and people may know like they call them gorges. Mostly you buy a dam, unya mountains, the valley part of the mountain. Or if you have a stream flowing, that's where you actually intercept or impound the water. So you have to get boulders. Abuak because they be on the sides, maybe saloon cars. The sizes to build from the base, to be a very broad base so that when you're able to do that now, it can actually withstand the hydrostatic and updraft forces. And so, mean to me, Fabian compare, the more the deeper the water, the higher the hydrostatic forces underneath. We shut down from 1961 to 1965, that is how the dam was constructed with that rock embankment field. Okay. Now the height of the dam is 114 meters. 114 meters. That's will be 100 meters. We will outside the 20 account. 100 meters now. When the person finishes the race now, on to mean straight. So like that lap distance now before we stopping about 14. So the dam on 8 now say vertically. That's the height of the dam. Now, this dam has a function of a generation of hydropower of 900. And in the era of Kufo, President Kufo, and more retrofitted, what they call 1,020. Now, the residue, and as well as the tailing, dam no turn power insurance or generating power now. The excess now was generating that it goes to the other pond dam, and that pond dam also produces 160 megawatts of power. It is the first one 1020 no. Ni waste nanka generating ankokwa. Esako another dam to give you 116 megawatts of power, additional power, and then it supplies Ghana Water Company Limited water to produce for people of half of Tema and Accra.
Okay.
That is the basic way. Now, share the source of the water come from like three major sources, tributaries from the north: the white Volta, the black Volta, and then the river Oti. So these are the contributors of the water to the Akosombo Dam. Now, you can say global warming. This is a direct description of global warming. Now, Africa in total, we are not contributing more than 3% to the depletion of the ozone layer.
Okay.
Africa total. America and China alone are contributing more than half of the depletion of the ozone layer or the global warming. That's why when the African leaders meet them, maybe some better info for people to appreciate where we are going to as a country. That's why when our leaders go for this summit now, they should be demanding more money from these people these developers who have contributed more than 90% of the depletion of the ozone layer, which is bringing us all this devastation as we speak. So that is one. Now, if you look at whatever is happening at the dam now, we ordinarily know that the northern regions of Ghana should be experiencing dry to the drought. I was thinking about the experiencing dryness to the drought. But because of the pattern, the uncertainty of the pattern of the river, the rainfall pattern now, you can't be 100% predictive to know whether you are going to get this X amount of volume of water in a year. As of now, last week, Wednesday and Thursday, when my team and myself and some other team were around the Bupe area, Yape Bupe area, there was flood. There was flood along the river bed of Bupe Yape area. But because they have no concentration of houses in that area, the impact was not being felt like how it's being felt in Accra. So, my fear was what I saw there or what my team saw there, it was going to have a devastating impact in Accra, Akosombo, because the water is coming from that source. And so if that source is already having few challenges, they were supposed to have drought. That's almost like excessive rainfall. Obviously, the rainfall, if you upstream, never downstream, the receptor of the downstream water is Akosombo. So I was already having my fear that we're going to have something small like this. Now, when the water comes to Akosombo, Obiaye design, it will be structural design of dams or structure any other building. Now, the structural engineers who designed the dam, SSA, wait, I may collapse. I won't collapse. And to me, they didn't add factor of safety. In the event where I go beyond my maximum capacity now, I will not just collapse immediately. It will some factor of safety. Eka design beyond who we are seeing. Now the design manual is telling you say me go beyond this 77.75 whatever it is now, I will collapse. So at any time I get to that stage, before I get there, I'm then you have to spill me out. That's why the design was done that at the that same gate from here, all the 6 gates will be able to open so that the water will flow to the low-lying area. Now the low-lying area was supposed to have some of this a pond and other dams. Now as we speak, Pond Dam has overflooded to the sense that Omojai operation. That is 160 megawatts of power loss already.
Okay.
So they are not actually operating the Pond Dam because the water has gone beyond the waterhead maximum. So they have to shut that place down and then now take some source of power from a flower area. Now the VRA are doing something marvelous. I say, they are not actually doing their engineering to the mine to the apex. So now all the turbines in Akosombo are operating at full capacity. They are blasting at full capacity, meaning say also generating a lot of power to the maximum to be able to run some of the water away. So some of the turbines might be temporarily shut down, so they can actually depend on the hydro to get power to the country. so that in soon a bit more quickly to move, so that people will not suffer as they are suffering. So every check and measure has been taken by the VRA. Unfortunately, we have a low-lying area, and then the water they are receiving now is more than what they are even spilling, because the flood, the water, the rain is still intensifying up north. Now, the other happiness I have is that the Bagri Dam has not even been opened. Burkina Faso,
exactly. Yes.
Because if they should open the Bagri Dam, the first and foremost, the north will flood before the residue will get to Akosombo and will intensify the flood. Now, the global warming, people should appreciate. Say, I will do a small digression, just about 10 seconds. The New York City, about a month and a half ago, flooded.
Exactly.
Germany has had a fair share of its flooding. France has received one of the worst of flood, including now, they are even having termites of where they don't know where it's coming from. I take the whole of Paris. Now, I'm just giving one of the critical areas. China, contributors of the division of the zone, China has received, in fact, capital of China, Beijing. Last 2 months, I have to check with my Chinese friends whether what I was reading was true, because they have received the biggest flood in the capital, flooded and taken almost half of the properties damaged. From the 1883, over 140 years, this is the biggest flood that has occurred in China, Beijing, over 140 years. So we are getting to a stage if we decide to disrespect, I've said it over and over on most of the media portals, if we decide to disrespect nature by our own small way, contributing insignificant to the depletion of the ozone layer now, we will have a problem internally. So that gives us a warning, apart from what is happening in the Volta region, I said over the last 3 years, it will get to a time we'll start to receive floods in Accra when Accra has not received any rains. We are getting there because every buffer area in the country which is supposed to store some water had been taken over by developers, putting construction of filling stations and warehouses, and they are being overlooked by the authorities that be. And these are big people in society. If you decide to cover mountains and flatlands and valleys, the valleys had a purpose to intercept and impound all waters so that speed flash on the surface of the, like what we call the flash flood. Now, if you continue to take over all these buffer areas and the environmental experts are looking on without sounding warnings and putting houses everywhere, apart from the Akosombo Dam, we'll be having similar of this everywhere across the country. No wonder for the past 3-4 years, Takwari is flooding, Kofodia is flooding across the country. We're having flood across. So we should be mindful. This one is a necessary evil. The spillage has to be done. Otherwise, let me give you the scenario. Libya received one of the worst floods about a month ago, where their mayor is actually in court to answer questions why he didn't heed to the warnings earlier when he was giving advice. Now, the Libya F dam collapse here. It has gone beyond the capacity with intensified rainfall. Now, when the dam should collapse, it will wash the whole community into the sea. So where we are now, it's a chicken and egg situation. Either you say on humanitarian grounds, when the dam collapses now, whether you like it or not, the whole Volta and the lower Volta and half of Tema, from 22 one area, every building will wash into the sea because you cannot withstand the updraft forces or the hydrostatic forces of the water coming from. Just imagine, with the 100 meters, 18 hours straight, that's how you Akosombo Dam in a microsecond, never go Accra and never ever into the sea. Every building will wash away. Now let me give you a scenario. One in Akosombo Dam,
yes.
Say the sachet water, the bonus sachet water. It can give everybody sachet water. The whole world sachet water will be at 2 for the next 40 years.
I see.
That's the volume of water we are dealing with at Akosombo. Like it can give everybody 2 sachet water for the next 40 years and beyond. So the magnitude of the impact of the Volta Lake, and so we are torn between spilling the water now and have this devastation, which can be remedied in a lot of ways, than to allow the dam to collapse and then take every life and property completely down. We can't stand that one. It will wash. In fact, it will erase a history of more than 300 years in some of those areas forever. So that's how I want to let people understand and appreciate what is happening in that side. It's in fact, your brother has done intense research about the past few days to get all this giving out now.
Yes,
now,
but the other side, no. But the concerns again, no, are that they are knowing how sadie ebetime aye and how intensity no etie no. I mean, earlier warnings should have been given to people the surrounding communities, at least to evacuate and san as spillage no crano etime aba. Why are we at this point? At the time, Ananki betime a prevent this idea.
You can't prevent. I was told say, in fact, I was not in Akosombo enclave during this last week. I was not there, but we're told. In fact, there has been counter arguments. Say there was a sensitization program organized by the VRO. Say they were getting to the peak. So they are going to spill. As they know, in fact, we have received about 3 spillage since about the last 4 decades. The first spillage was in 1997. The second spillage was in 2010 in the Atamo's administration. The third one is this one. This is the highest ever. The highest ever in the history of the dam. The water it's receiving is the highest ever recorded. And the data is there to show the highest ever intensity of water being received at the dam at a time, every microsecond. The drop of water which is actually entering the dam is unimaginable. And this is why I said that the global warming is getting to a certain stage. We need to consciously move ahead with the global warming. And now the sad thing is that the Volta regions of Ghana are having 2 challenges now. The first one is that due to the same global warming, Epono is increasing by 2 millimeters every single year.
Okay.
That is why in my few discussions on the sea defense number for recently on at least when you are done, let your listeners just go and just check on the Twitter handle Mama at Mama Anas Abdullah and just get all this implication or go to YouTube and find out. Just type the name, you get some of these videos to at least appreciate what is happening. Now that the sea is now taking their land offshore, coming into the inland. So for the past few years, let me say about the last decade, they have lost more than 1,000. That's 1,000 meters. That's Wako Stadium. Wako 400 meters. That's how the sea area has been taken over by the sea. The buildings are now almost close to the sea, so the sea is taking the land, and then now they are getting the sea is taking you. The other river is also coming down. It's in the 2 areas, the land is being taken by the sea and then the river body. So the people there, in fact, they are not in normal times at all. The sea is taking its part because of the same global warming, and then the river is also taking its part because of the same global warming and its attributes. So it's not a pleasant thing for them. Now let's look at the buildings you are talking about.
Yeah.
Now what will happen is that when the floods finally subside and then we have a firm ground what they will do is that a lot of the buildings which are mud houses in there, definitely they're already gone.
It's gone, yeah.
It's gone completely. Because the mud house cannot withstand 96 hours torrential water standing on it. Also, design, car the Californian Bearing Ratio, that's the CBR. Then that CBR na the anyama the goose on sea, the Hambi Abosu 25, 56, and I think 90. I've forgotten the other one. This 98. Now what we do is both are cylinder near the Anyanukuma. They will soak that water, that sand or the compacted layer into water for 96 hours. What it means is that they want to see, say, should we have 96 hours of rainfall in one particular area? How would the road be able to withstand the extent of saturation?
Okay.
Now we have gone beyond the 96 hours. But normally, that's what the Americans or those who are American military guys and it has been captured by everybody in the world that used for all our roads. That's what they did in their design. So the 96 hours is there. The road will be able to stand a certain situation of water in it for 96 hours and beyond. So or if all things are done on our roads, especially the asphalt roads now, then when the water panel subsides now, they will have to go and do what we call like coring. We have to core the road. Ebe kutu amuna bi near check material na woman near the collab near all the fuel laboratories. I mean that's why it's very normal to any material engineer.
Okay.
Then the buildings which are standing there now are very saturated. Concrete, concrete. We are concrete, papa. Since you buna say any problem, man.
Okay.
Because concrete hardens with a lot of liquid or fluid. Papa, most of the buildings should not have any problem, especially if their foundations are sitting on sound foundation grounds. So a lot of the government or public buildings in particular, I'm not very particular about the individual, because you say even though every life matters, we don't want to have any debate. If a crowd meets at a certain location now, it's more paramount to any other person than an individual.
Yeah.
And any building which is a corporate building, and I say public building, there will be a structural integrity analysis done on most of the buildings. So they will say, okay, the building is sound for cohabitation. So a lot of these story buildings in particular, and yet there's the man normal, but a lot of these story buildings now, ground, first, second, third floors, of government institutions, schools, and other places, ought to get to do this integrity analysis to be able to get a certification. Okay, these buildings are okay and sound. But most of the buildings, the foundations have to be taken into consideration very well. And I think when these things are done, after the rates have come down, we will make some headway. The other thing is this. May share discussion be, I would say, engineers, the VRA, and by extension, any other engineer who can also contribute his technical know-how. So, in number form, we have to start to look the whole river bed, right from the source upstream, downstream. Say, could it be that we can start to engineer some few dams along the rivers? It will be empty at a point. What we'll do is that spillage gate, yes, we will have the spillage gate closer to the river and with a very well designed, so that in case the water that is coming to the Akosombo is too much, we quickly open those channels so that when the water is actually on its path, they will start to enter this irrigation dams so that we will have less water. But it's simple, sir. I'm just giving something that we have to think about as engineers.
Very well.
Along the path of the river, we may do these things in anticipation, say, once the global warming or the ozone layer has been depleted, in some of the areas, it will be worse than this in the coming years. We may have a rainfall that will be worse than this. Now let me give you this last one before, if you have any other thing to say. When we say the dam is based on some prediction of water inflow. Exactly. When the water is lower, the turbines will be shut. Like over 97 there now do so no course now 2000 and I think 2016, 15, 16 when the dam was also low. These are the things that so you are not so exact with getting
the volumes,
the volumes. So say who started spilling way ahead of time, and then your uncertainty is that you don't get the water to come. You are going to shut all the Akosombo Dam down because you cannot operate, and that will give us problems with our bill and with the generation of power. That will still have the same effect that we had like 2015, 2016 there, and worse than that. Because even at that time, the turbines were not shut completely. They were still active. Some of them were active. Sometimes now, almost operated 2 turbines or 1 turbine, 3 turbines at a time, just to be able to manage the water there. But we cannot have it totally shut because that hydro power lower than the turbine. So when government bring the lower one and the higher one, almost mix here, almost the boom one, then they'll give us an approximate average cost for a megawatt of power or a kilowatt of power that we consume in our homes. It's very complicated, but
very well.
The education I can give to your listeners this more. But what I'm saying is that get some of these things, check on my Twitter handle and then YouTube. A lot of the things I put there free of charge. People can just enlighten themselves with the things that we are doing for the country.
All right, engineer, Marvin, that was no pay. I'm grateful for your time.
Get the record, say, Missy Majau. What do you mean data? What do you mean information now? It's all down for me.
Thank you. I'm grateful. Me go on, I'm going to propose.